always liked the thought of running from Launceston to Hobart. I don't think I'd planned to do it non-stop, but...
Wait, why did you like the thought? Why did you like that thought?
Well, I guess because I'd done 100, and 100 is always a test. You can't be ready for it, and the way I train, I don't train enough, and my diet isn't the best. So I'm always outside my comfort zone whenever I do a run.
Hello everybody, welcome to today's video, and boy do I have something special to share with you all today. Now my podcast, Running from Comfort, is officially launching on the 20th of April, but I am giving you guys today my full interview that I did with Chris Dalton. Now, when my podcast launches, it'll be available across all platforms, but for today's purposes, this podcast is only going to be available on YouTube in this video. And I'm sharing today the story of Chris Dalton, who ran 200 kilometers over the course of 32 hours for the charity Bears of Hope. Now, he set this up himself as a fundraiser because he really believes in the charity itself. And you can donate to Bears of Hope. There is going to be a link in the description to donate for Chris's run that he's already completed. And that's what we talk about in today's podcast. So if you want to donate, donations close on the 31st of March. However, he did say the link may still work for a month afterwards. So that's part of the reason why I'm releasing this interview early, so that we can raise awareness for Bears of Hope, and so that if you so choose, you may decide to make a donation to Bears of Hope. But in terms of Chris's story and the charity itself, I'm just going to let the interview play, and you guys are going to get to learn all about that. Now, final disclaimer, this was raw and it was put together with very little editing because I just wanted to share it with you all. It is also the first time that I've actually gotten video footage to go with my podcast as well. So I think I may continue to do this in the future because I really like having the video there to go with the audio. But anyways, guys, I hope you're excited for my launch next month. This episode will get re-released then, so it'll be available to download and you can listen to it on your favorite podcasting apps. But for now, enjoy today's video, guys, and thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this and you want to see more, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow my Instagram at Galloways_take. You can find more from me there and you'll be kept up to date with everything podcast related. I'm so excited to launch this podcast. I'm so excited for you guys to get to listen to this interview today. If you enjoy, leave a comment below. Now, enough of me talking. Let's get to it.
All right. So here on today's show, Running from Comfort, I have a man who literally ran very far away from comfort. He ran 200 kilometers from Launceston to Hobart for a good cause, a charity called Bears of Hope. Today we have Chris Dalton. Chris,
How
welcome.
you going? Thank
How
you.
are we?
I'm good. Recovered, which is the easiest way to say it after the run.
2 weeks removed, aren't we?
Yeah, so a week and 6 days. It's 6 days. It's 2 weeks for the finish tomorrow afternoon.
I'll say very early on, my biggest surprise was to actually just see how well you've recovered. In fact, just to see you standing right now, I'm just like, wait, hang on, aren't you supposed to be all banged up, like micro fractures and all that bullshit?
Yeah, no, I was kind of lucky. Before you came in here, so I was at Lululemon Hobart today. We had a bit of a group run, and it was my first run since the event, and I Physio Nick, as I called him, Magic Hands. I started calling him through the run. He looked after me for the whole period. He was on board the motorhome that we had, and yeah, constantly working me over and just checking on me and making sure I was okay. And he even came around the day after. But outside of just obviously 200 k's of feet time, giving me a bit of ITB grief. A blister on the left leg was about it, and just overall tiredness because there was 15 minutes total sleep over the night, and that was it.
You washed it out, mate. Just absolutely boshed it. Your body, it was ready, apparently.
Apparently.
So just before we, I want to talk about that more in detail, but just before we go into that, what I wanted to talk to you about first was tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us, go on.
Yeah, I guess I'm kind of your average, I'd say average runner, apart from obviously doing some longer events. In regards to running, I started running, it would be 2006 or so. I was doing a boot camp, and the boot camp was going to do Ross 10K as a group, and I've gone, I'll go and do the 10K, and it was a very small field, but I came fourth. I did 43 minutes for 10K, whereas your elites will do 28, 29 minutes. So definitely nowhere near an elite athlete. But then after that, I've gone, why not just keep going? So I did another couple of 10Ks, and then I did a marathon within 3.5 months and a 6-hour race on a track. 4 months later. So that whole idea of just pushing myself to try and go harder rather than just stick at that same comfort level, I guess, kind of took place. But outside of that, I work for Samsung Electronics. So I'm in the mobiles game. I've been in telco for years, running stores and things. I've got a wife. I've got 5-year anniversary yesterday, and then I've got 2. Thank you. I've got and 2 little bubs. So I've got a 5 and a bit year old, and then a 9-month-old. So I guess the 9-month-old's arrival was kind of the catalyst to me raising money for Bears of Hope. So
So tell us a bit about Bears of Hope.
Yeah, so Bears of Hope, they haven't supported me directly, but my running group, they look after soulmates. So I started the running group 4.5 years ago when I moved back to Hobart and didn't have many people to run with. So I started running with a mate or two, helped them train, etc. And the running group grew, and now it's quite large. And around the state, we've got people running left, right, and centre. But young couple in the running group, probably the nicest couple and just nicest family in general I've probably ever come across. They were pregnant with their first bub, but they lost Lily 25 weeks into the pregnancy. So that hit home, and it was very close to, I guess, when we were due to have our second child. And they also, I didn't know this up until very close to having Sky, our most recent bub, that they lost twins as well, which 10 weeks along into that pregnancy. So in the space of 18 months, they'd lost 3 children without being able to have them kind of come into the world. So the day we had Sky, I was kind of a little bit, I guess I felt guilty, the fact that we had a healthy child, because I guess Andrew and Emma had lost these babies, and we're sitting there with 2 very healthy girls. So then I found out that Bears of Hope, an volunteer organisation, they help couples through this time, and families, etc., through this time with support packages. So they'll tag a little bear for them to take home, so they've got something to take home. I guess obviously support. They do grief workshops. They do memorial days where they remember the babies lost throughout Tassie and the different states. So just a huge support network. But obviously they need funds to be able to keep doing what they do. So I thought, well, rather than just doing a marathon here or an ultra, etc., and I've done up to 100k before. I was doing a 100k run anyway, and I thought, I'll raise some money for them. So I raised a few grand, but then I lived in Launceston a while ago, probably 7-8 years ago. I lived in Launceston, so 200k away from where I'm now in Hobart, and I've gone, I always liked the thought of running from Launceston to Hobart. I don't think I'd planned to do it non-stop, but...
Wait, why did you like the thought? Why did you like that thought?
Well, I guess because I'd done 100, and 100 is always a test. You can't be ready for it, and the way I train, I don't train enough, and my diet isn't the best. So I'm always outside my comfort zone whenever I do a run. But I've just gone, I've done 100. 200 it's not a logical step, but it's double what I've done in the past. So a nice challenge. And then obviously if you're going to raise money, I think, and you're going to put a physical component to it, it needs to be that something truly outside your comfort zone. I just wouldn't feel right going, I'm going to raise money because I'm going to do a 10k because I've done those. I think I needed to pick something that was going to be hard, logistically and physically. And 200 and Launceston to Hobart seemed like the right way to go.
Honestly, I think even at 100 kilometres, like, I would just think you're pushing it. Like, I'd get behind 100 kilometres myself. Yeah. And then, because I'll just briefly, when I first found out about you, one of my friends was attending your Facebook event, and I first saw it, and I'm thinking, oh, what's this? Is this like a relay? Like someone's going to run 30k, someone's going to run 30k? It's like, no, that's not just one person, is it? Surely not. So then I hit my friend up, and I'm like, who is this crazy motherfucker? Is he really doing 200 kilometres? Is this a real thing? He's like, yeah, it's happening tomorrow. I was like, what?
And I think that's what a lot of people thought, because you see 200, and yeah, it's a big number, but I mean, it wasn't me, but I had people there, thankfully, helping me through it, physio, etc., and support runners. But yeah, it was definitely, I think that the idea was outside the comfort zone, and then the actual physical feat ended up being very much, very much so early on. Actually, surprisingly early on, I thought I was going to be okay for a lot longer than I was until things started to get a bit nasty.
So how far did it take for things to get nasty and define nasty as well?
Yeah, so I guess Magic Hands Nick, he, I did visit him once before the run because we talked about obviously catching up and working out any pre-existing injuries or niggles and things like that. And I had a bit of a sore calf at the start of kind of all my runs for a little while. It just sort of subsided after a bit. So I was worried about the calf, but I wasn't worried at all about anything on my right leg really. But yeah, about 25, 30K into 200, I started having this just shooting ache through my right leg. And I'm like, well, this is lovely. We're 30 odd K in, we've got 170 to go. This isn't looking promising. So every 5K I had the motorhome stopping and getting food and a drink and stuff just to keep hydrated early. But it began to be Nick looking after me and kind of working on my leg. So when we got to Campbelltown, which is about 65K, he worked me over again because the last 100, 150 metres to the motorhome was agony. I was kind of still running at that point, like a lot of the run, but I'd have walk breaks up little hills and stuff, and it was just pure agony trying to move as we got to the motorhome. And he worked over me a couple more times through, probably until about 90K, and he managed to get that under control. So that kind of dissipated, and then yeah, we got into the night stages, and then new things arose.
Hang on, but just before we go into the night stage, just quickly. Yeah. So at 30Ks, you're in agony. Was there any like worry or doubt at all? Like, oh shit, like, am I going to be able to do this? Like, did I chew off more than I can chew? Yeah,
well, I think my wife in the lead up week, so I'd get back from a morning run and I'd kind of have a bit of a whinge about, oh, I feel rubbish. Oh, I really struggled today. And one of the first things every time, she'd go, oh, I think you're just bitten off more than you. Those exact words too. Maybe you've bitten off more than you. She was like, thanks. She is the best support I'll ever have. She's always there every run I do, but those comments aren't the most supportive, and she tells me how it is. And yeah, there were, especially when it's 30 odd K, and if I was 120 or 130K and add another figure onto the front of it, and I probably wouldn't have minded because I expected some pain. But when you're 30 odd K, 30 to 60, and you've got 2/3 of it to go, definite concern, and those kind of things went around in my mind going, oh, am I going to be that guy who said I'm going to do something and then pull out at 100K or 120? And I guess the thought of the cause and the thought that I'd kind of signed up for it, so I had to do it.
How much of a mental game would you say it was?
Oh, huge. Yeah, it was one of those ones where I guess any race is like that, but this was more so. I knew I drive that road every week and I know every little bit of it, and I was constantly just thinking, I'm going to get to St Peter's Pass and it's lumpy. I'm going to get to past Oatlands, and then I've never run through the night. I haven't run more than 100, and I'm like, I'm feeling like this now. How am I going to feel in X amount of time? And I don't feel very well as well, so that I don't drink enough water normally when I run by myself. I don't eat enough, and I kind of flag after about 30K on training runs and just get through it. But this, I'm like, I'm already in a heap, kind of needing a physio to work on me after 30 to 40 to 50K. What's it going to look like in 5, 10, 15, 20 hours? Who knows? And just had to deal with it and just keep going.
Was there anything particularly that you did to deal with it? Was there any particular thoughts that you had?
I just kept thinking about the cause and going, well, obviously the young families or any of the families are going through, they put up with a lot and deal with a lot, and in the end it's pain. You can push through pain, and I kind of told the physio and the lovely lady that I had crewing, if I get to a point and I'm really struggling, all right, if I get to a point where they know I'm physically probably doing real damage to myself, then all right, then I'll concede. But up until that, I said I'll keep going no matter what. And that was the thing. I've gone, I'm going to do it. It just is going to take a lot longer than if I have to walk if I have to hobble, I'll do that, and I ultimately did for the last 20k. But yeah, if I have to, I will. It's just.
I think I read on one of your posts somewhere, like if I have to crawl,
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, this won't surprise me if he does. But
Yeah, it was very much. It's whatever it took to get 200 done.
just whatever it's
whatever it took. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, look, honestly, I've never ran more than a few kilometers myself. Like, I start getting like pain. I'm like, oh, nah, you know what? My legs hurt. I think, how many calories is that? Look, 300 calories. That's good. All right, time to go home.
Yeah. I think I burned about 26,000 or something along those lines.
Did you have a Fitbit on tracking that?
I had a watch which I had continually hooked up to a power bank, because most watches don't like lasting more than 10 or 15 hours. So that was my main concern, having it tracked. You got to have it tracked.
Yeah. All right. So now getting back to it. So you said as the nighttime came on,
Yep.
there was more challenges that lurked around. So what?
Yeah, so the longest I'd ever done anything, I did a 100k trail race, and I don't do trail running at all. And I started that run a while ago with a torn calf before I started the race. So I was always going to do the race, and had it patched up, and I was out there for 17 hours, and that was the longest I'd ever been. I finished about 11 o'clock at night, and the night, didn't know what that was going to be like. Getting past 17 hours, I know how bad I was that time. So getting past 17 hours, I had no idea as well. So, and fueling for that long, fueling well, because I was being fed and kind of guided through what I was eating. So I got to Oatlands, 115k in 16 hours. I was really, really happy with that. And then, yeah, you've got a lovely hill called Spring Hill, and it's got a little sign on the top that says highest point on the Midlands Highway, however many metres, 460 metres above sea level or something. And just before we hit that hill, I'd stopped for a bit of a fuel break, and they were kind of force feeding me some food, and I had something that the texture just wasn't great, and I was struggling to kind of get food in after 120, 25k anyway. And let's just say, yeah, all that food that I'd put into the body, 17 hours total, in 4 quite violent efforts, was all of a sudden sitting on the side of the highway. So
I've got to be a bit graphic here. Which end?
Front. Yeah. So it was straight out of where I'd originally been eating, and it was after that I kind of felt good for about a minute, and then working my way up the hill, I started kind of staggering about and kind of really being out of it. And the support runners I had there with me, they were starting to get concerned. So that led to me being kind of pulled over halfway up the hill, sitting down with a sleeping bag over me, shaking, trying to get something into me. So that was, we're hitting that concerning stage. We're 13 hours into 19 hours in, 130k, 125k in, and I'm in that sort of state. So I got moving after that, and a lot of doubt. You're starting to think, well, this is turning nasty, and we've still got the whole night to go. Then got to the top of Spring Hill, and they pleaded with me to have a sleep, and I said I didn't want to sleep the whole thing. I just said I'm going to run through. So I said, all right, I'll have 5 minutes. And then they laid me down in the back of the van, and I looked at my watch. I remember looking at my watch and going, all right, 5 minutes. And then I hear this knock on the door, and I wake up, and it's 15 minutes later, and I go, cheeky. Okay, so they did that, and yeah, we set off. It wasn't very fast, and the walking.
I'm surprised you didn't crash out for about 15 hours.
I would have, if I was allowed, I would have. So yeah, we kept going, got through, and it was a lot. I definitely perked up after that little 15-minute sleep, but yeah, things had already hit a wall. So that night period was definitely harder. I had a good crew with me, but we then kind of got into the kind of, the sun came up, or just as the sun was coming up, we were hitting Kempton, and kind of that was a hobble into the crew. Kind of a lay down to eat some breakfast. My true diet came in. I went into mood food at Kempton and got a couple of chicken medallions, a seafood stick, and an up and go.
That's great running nutrition right there.
Yeah, and then at the top of the hill out of Kempton, I had a thick shake delivered. So I started to get into what I'd normally do on long runs. I don't eat well. I don't look after the body that well. So, but it did the trick.
Had you researched much nutrition about what you need to eat doing an ultra marathon leading into this at all?
I kind of know what I should be eating, but I end up going with what I know, which is, Milo pouches, amazing. The Milo yogurt pouches. Barista iced chocolate, Powerade, Coke, Red Bull. So I had a few Red Bulls on the run just as that kind of boost. Thick shake. I've been well known to have a thick shake and a cheeseburger at 6 hours or 7 hours when I've done 100k races. So people have a giggle about that. But if it sits well in your stomach and it gives you some energy, then stick with it. It probably doesn't give you continual energy. and the physio and everyone was kind of just rolling their eyes. If they had have chosen what I was eating, it would have been a lot different. But I'll say that's one thing I kind of felt not in control of, but I was confident in that I knew I could at least eat a lot of that stuff and not have any issues in regards to not being able to enjoy the taste, and I could continually eat that stuff. Yeah.
And I also think I read somewhere too, you at some point in the later part of the run, you were starting to smash Red Bulls. Was that?
Yeah. So I was actually, when we got to Mangalore, which is about 150, be 165k in, I reckon. And I was literally pretty much sleepwalking. I was kind of eyes closed and kind of wobbling along, and I had two of the support runs because I had people there pretty much for the whole run, either side of me, just making sure I wasn't falling off. And they stopped me. They pleaded. This is the time they actually pleaded. They're like, "You're having a sleep," and I'm like, "No." I like to think I'm pretty upbeat, and I was quite nice to them, the crew and everyone around me. And I'm like, "No, just give me a Red Bull, give me a flask of Coke, and just leave me. Let me get it done, because we're under 40 odd k to go. So I just wanted it done. So I had my Red Bull. I had another Red Bull. I had probably 2 or 3 before that, but this was one I want my Red Bull. Give it to me. Had my Red Bull. It perked me up a bit, and then physio Nick went into the camper and got me my flask of Coke. But then about a k down the road, I actually had a drink out of it, and he'd put water in it, and he'd watered it down, and I was a little bit sandy. I was not impressed at all.
Watered down Coke.
Yeah, it wasn't great. But that Red Bull just
no different to Macca's Coke, I guess.
No, it was worse than that. It was a lot more watered down. That Red Bull definitely gave me a perk.
Wings?
And not so much. I wish I knew legs would have been nice. Would have been nicer than wings.
Yeah, so continuing on with this run. So you said you're at this point now, you're almost like sleepwalking.
Yep.
You've got this Red Bull, and the sun's up at this time.
Yes.
So now you're going for the home stretch. Have you got like the Rocky music like going through your head?
We had someone actually join in with music. He joined in late, and that was nice. And we had through Oatlands at kind of midnight. We had bit of 80s and 90s music blaring on the speakers. So I don't know what the Oatlands locals thought of us, but definitely my dog is named Rocky, actually, speaking of which. My German Shepherd named Rocky. Rocky is a big part, and that kind of thing. We had Eye of the Tiger pop up at one point, and Holy Grail, Hunters and Collectors. They were two. I remember those songs just standing out, and kind of, when I'm sitting there hobbling, I started running, and it's like, oh, okay, I can run again. And then the song stops, and yes, it kind of stopped. But probably the big thing that, apart from it being under 40k to go, that's a nice little thing. The fact that I had so many people around, because we would have had 15 people by that 40k to go mark joining in, and Andrew and Emma, the ones who had lost the bubs. Emma actually, 4 days ago, just had her first child.
Oh,
so
congratulations.
Successfully healthy, the whole work. So she waddled down to greet, so she was well and truly well along to being ready to pop, and she even managed to do a little bit of a jog to try and shake the baby out. We were always joking in the lead up to the run that it'd be nice if that happened on the same weekend as the run, but it didn't happen, so that's fine. I think that group of people made it, kind of helped that comfort zone. I just wanted it over by then, but the people around definitely helped the doubts kind of dissipate, and more just, all right, we're at a point, we've got 40k to go, and it just needs to be done now. And I guess having those people there, you're not gonna sit there and go, it hurts too much when you've only got 40k to go. You've done 160. I felt bad because they were coming to join in for a run. a run, and I'm sitting hobbling along on the side of the road. But
So you felt bad that you weren't running anymore?
it's pretty much what it was. I had a couple of my mates actually joke because they donated and go, "Oh, what do you mean you're walking? I want my money back." I'm joking, but yeah, I know what they mean. It's like I'd put it up as the run, and I knew what I was in for, and I knew I wasn't going to be running all of it, but they definitely let me know about it.
So your mentality at this point is just, I've already done 160. I've just got to get it done.
Yeah. There was a moment getting into Macca's because toilets, I will say, on the Midlands Highway are very few and far between. So that was another comfort zone that I wasn't expecting for about 3K. I survived until McDonald's Bridgewater. That was probably almost one of the most uncomfortable feelings for. Yeah, the last K before McDonald's Bridgewater, I was in a state, and it wasn't my legs I was worried about. So maybe I just needed to hold it for the last 20K because that took every bit of pain out of my mind, and I was just focused on McDonald's Bridgewater amenities and utilising those. But once that was done, then it's like, oh, okay, that's done. Now I've got 20K to go, a half marathon basically to go, and it's going to take a long time. It's going to be a 3-hour, 4-hour, 5-hour job for 20K, whereas normally I could go and do 20K just on a training run in an hour 50.
Yeah, so it was a bit of a slugfest at that point.
By a long shot, yeah. So, yeah, you're looking, it was turned into 12 and 13-minute Ks, and my cruise pace normally when I run is around the 5-minute Ks. So it was a hobble, it was a shuffle, but it was a consistent stream of people coming to support as well.
Yeah, and tell us about that. So you said a few of your friends even did a whole 100 Ks with you.
Yeah, so I had a guy join in, and he did 106. His longest before that was 64.
Wow, hats off, man.
I thought I might have 1 or 2 overnight, but I think we had 8 running midnight, morning, etc. It was crazy, and then we had a few people do mid-90s. I kind of got stuck into them a little bit. It's like, why don't you do the extra Ks and do 100? You got to have your triple figures. And then we had just a lot of people joining in to be a part of it, and especially that last 20, 30, 40K, etc. And that's probably what made that comfort zone a lot nicer than it could have been.
Having that support network.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. All right. So then, coming up to getting to the finishing point of this, so you're at Bridgewater, so we're 20 Ks away from the finish.
20K. It was hobble. It was. I think I may have got a run up for maybe 2K total of that last 20 combined.
You did run.
I did little bits. I tried to. It wasn't pretty and it wasn't enjoyable. But then getting to, I guess, that last few K, that's where it really got nasty. But I did manage to run into the mall to finish. I thought, if I'm going to finish this thing, I've got to run into the mall when I finish it. It was I couldn't walk to finish. It had to be a run. I at least had to do the last 200-300 metres running, and I managed to do that. But that last 20, that was the most pain and most discomfort I've probably ever been in doing any running. I've been injured and stuff, but this was just all over. Just fatigue, cumulative fatigue, lack of sleep, pain in the knee, the hot spot, which when I changed my shoes at 160K, I found out turned into a very large blister, just everything combined, and the emotion of it all as well. So Maria from Bears of Hope Town here actually sent a video message to one of the support runners to show me, and it was kind of her thanking me for everything, and I teared up under my sunglasses while I was about 8K away from the finish, and I'm sitting there trying to look tough and wear my sunnies, and I've got tears in my eyes watching the video, and I thought, well, okay, that emotional shift happened as well. So it was just that last bit was brutal. So the kind of sight of Hobart being a K or 2K away was a bit of a blessing, but it was also I've still got 2K to go. I just want it done. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So here we are. So you're 2Ks away from Hobart. How are we at this point? You're almost there.
I was over it. I was definitely over it, and just in that headspace where it's just like it's literally 2K. what's that, 1% of the run left. It's literally, it's a survival. I wouldn't even say survival because it was going to get done. It was just pain. So I tried periodically to kind of run or shuffle or hobble for 50 metres or 100 metres, and that necessarily wasn't happening. But I had a stream. I probably had 25 people with me at this stage running. So the support network there was huge, and it definitely helped get me through. The actual side of, I guess, the cenotaph area, which is all of about 600, 700 metres away, maybe a K away from the mall where I was going to finish, that was a blessing, because I looked at it and gone, well, literally it's a K. I know this, I run around here all the time, and I run most of the spots since Bridgewater, McDonald's, a lot, so I knew every kind of lump, I knew where it was going to be dead flat, I knew if there was going to be a downhill, so that last little bit, it was just survival and getting it done, and just making sure it was complete, and probably making sure it was 200 as well, because I didn't want to get to the mall and have 198, because you can't. I had to have 200, and ultimately it was 200.3k, so it was about as close to perfect as I could have managed.
And then at this point, so you know the mall's coming up, you wanted to run into the mall, so how were you preparing yourself for that last stretch where you knew you were going to...
I just picked the point where I was going to definitely run. I wasn't looking forward to running it, but I've gone, all right, when I get to the top of the corner of the bus mall and Macquarie Street, it's about 200 metres straight down, I'm going to run from there. And I was just running into the mall, and knowing that was the end. I knew it was the end, but what I didn't know is there were going to be people waiting in the mall. I thought I might have had 2 or 3 people waiting in the mall, and no, I got round the corner and actually decided to run, and there's 20 odd people sitting in the mall, and they'd got some red and white tape to stream across like a finish line, and it was tape which had danger written on it. I felt like I should have ran through that at the start of the run rather than at the finish. But yeah, definitely seeing that. They had music going, so they had a speaker and music going. They had the final countdown.
The final countdown,
was the finish song.
Did that start getting it going?
It was starting to get emotional, and I'm like, I've done a couple of Ironman. That was with not enough training as always, and I got through those, and I didn't train enough for those, so I didn't have that whole Ironman finish where you break down, and like I see it, like I've seen videos where people break down because they've just done an Ironman and they've done all this training, and I've never had that moment where I've been emotional at the end of a run. Yeah, I've been tired and stuff. I had one race where I had a really just personal stuff was happening, etc., and that was emotional, but this was just a huge build up, etc., and the emotions really started to hit that last 200. And there's plenty of videos, etc., where my wife was at the end, and I started tearing up when she was hugging me. And I think since we've been married 5 years, it's probably one of the longest hugs we've had in 5 years.
Wow.
She was also supporting me because I was probably ready to collapse. But
just holding you up there.
It was just a big thing of emotion to that last 200 metres, just knowing, all right, this is all I have to run, and then it's done. Everything that the funds have been raised, the awareness has been raised, and the scariest part of doing the 200k is finally over, and surprisingly a lot quicker than I imagined it was going to be as well.
Yeah. And were you scared at this point to take your shoes off?
Yeah, definitely, because the hot spot, so I changed my shoes once. I changed them once. So I did 160k total non-stop in this one pair of shoes, and we're getting into Baghdad, and just started to feel graty, and I've gone, oh yeah, it's probably time. I haven't changed them, so I changed them and put on a different brand that I used to wear, and the hot spot on my back left heel was, it just started really hurting. I'm like, oh, obviously they're fitting different. I took the shoes off, and people were surprised at how, in general, my feet they were looking pretty good. But then on the left heel, there was a blister the size of probably 3 or 4 50-cent pieces stacked together. Very, very large, and I haven't had many blisters in my life, but this made up for all the ones I haven't had. It was ridiculous. So that, and just overall aching and pain of the legs, and just fatigue and tightness. But it was just that blister. That was an unpleasant surprise that I didn't need.
All right, so just in terms of this run itself, is there anything that it's taught you about yourself or about life after completing it?
Yeah, I think people who, I guess, if anybody's doing this consistently, like really, like it's their life to raise funds and awareness, the passion. Like I had a lot of passion, and I would have had more passion if it obviously impacted me directly. But that was the key for me for this whole event, is having the passion to go, well, this is something that needs awareness. Obviously, because I'm a father, it affected me anyway. But yeah, just having that passion was one of the things. And I've got it in some parts of my life, but I kind of wish I had it in all of the parts, because I think of how much more productive and things if I had the same passion for that as I did for everything. Like day-to-day activities, if you go, oh, all right, I'm gonna put everything into mowing the lawns. I don't want to mow the lawns. The wife ends up mowing the lawns.
You can't be passionate about everything.
It would be nice. Like even yeah, some of the things that you are just things that you always do day to day. If I had that, even a partial level of that passion, that things I had to do, activities I had to do to get through, it would definitely make things easier. I thought I knew I was kind of mentally strong doing hundreds and stuff, but this proved, I think, that yeah, I hit another level of mental toughness and stubbornness, and just pushing through. I hit a point where I've never thrown up on a run, and I didn't know how that was going to affect me, and I've gone, well, all right, I can do that now. That's a new skill I've got. I can throw up and keep going if I really want to. If I get
vomit.
Yeah, if I now know what a real good blister feels like, and I'll probably do something to mitigate. If that happens, I'll go to a meadow or something if I'm doing another run, and I'll go, can you do something about this now, so I don't have to deal with it for 30k. So and just I think it's just knowing, once again, like, I know 100, or I can get through 100, but 200, getting through that, I can go, well, whenever something gets really, really dark and really, really hard now, you can get through the other side. You don't have to stress and go, this is the end. If you get through that nasty patch, it will get better. Well, it didn't get a lot better, but it got better, and I survived. So it's I almost think of it as I'm growing my beard for the second time. I had a good beard for six and a half month beard, and it looked amazing. And everybody goes, oh, I can't do it. It kind of gets to that 2-3 week mark and it gets itchy. That's one thing of this run. The 120 odd K mark was my itchy phase, and I pushed through the itchy phase and got 200 done. And it's the same with I think of it as a beard now. So I'm looking forward to having it back, because I started fresh, and I've gone, get past that itchy phase in your life, and then push through, and you'll end up with something pretty awesome.
That's awesome. Life advice from Chris. It's all about getting past the itchy beard phase.
Get past the itchy beard phase.
Things will get better.
I'm going to write a book of inspirational quotes. I've only got that one. But it's going to be different beards with that same post on it.
I'm looking forward to it. Beards that inspire.
Yeah.
I don't know. There we go. All right, that's been awesome. So, are you going to plan on doing any other long runs like this?
Not 200. No, 200 is.
Don't you have to push your comfort zones in 300 next?
I thought, maybe for I'm 35 now. Maybe for my 50th, I could go do it again, the same course.
At 50?
Yeah.
Oh,
like
no.
You see it. They say when you get older, you get better with long distance and stuff. Maybe you got more time to train. But I think 100. It sounds silly that 100 sounds nice now, but 100 does, because for me, it's 10, 11, 12 hours. It's not I go without sleep for a night, and I've got to keep the wife happy as well, because that was a pretty. I think she made sure our life insurance was up to date, because she was pretty confident something was going to happen there. I think it's just it took a lot of time, like a lot of weekends. My main running was weekends, so I'd head out 5 in the morning and go for 5 hours. So the mornings were gone with my family. So if you're going to invest time in it, that takes a toll. So I'd like to do another one. I think 200, 250, 300 is definitely a challenge, but just not yet. So I think I'll challenge myself for fast hundreds, fast 100Ks.
You might find yourself an ultra marathon with David Goggins soon.
Yeah, because they are definitely, 100 is still a big challenge, but trying to get faster and really pushing yourself for 100, that's going to be that next test. I've got a marathon in ideally 3 weeks I want to do, and that's
doing a marathon in 3 weeks.
Yeah, and that's going to be way outside, because I went for a small run this morning, and 6K was like, 6K. I haven't run for 2 weeks, and I felt like legs were still aching. So I don't know how a marathon.
How long's a marathon?
42.
Oh,
So,
easy.
Yeah, well, in stamina, yes, but the way the body's feeling, I'm not quite sure. So yeah, definitely, I'll do something else, but I'm just not sure of exactly what yet.
Well, Chris, it's been a pleasure. We're going to end this here, but just before we go, Bears of Hope, where can people find it? Where can they donate?
Yeah, so Bears of Hope, I guess they've got Facebook, they've got obviously a website, so if you look for Bears of Hope, pregnancy and infant loss support, for me, the donations stay open until the end of the month, but the pages still stay live, I found out, so
Okay.
I had people still donating like a month or two after the first initial thing. So if you were to literally go on Facebook, there's only one page called it, funnily enough. Launceston to Hobart, 200 kilometres is the easiest way to find it. If you search that, I'm pretty certain I'm still the only page called Launceston to Hobart 200 kilometre run.
Well, you know what? All right, here's what I'm going to do. This is my commitment. So I'm not launching until next month, but
Yep.
seeing as we've got the video footage as well, I'm going to release this one early on YouTube.
Yep.
And I'm going to see if we can get that up there so we can get people supporting this cause for you.
Fantastic, thank you. Yeah, well, we smashed the overall, we've hit the goal of 10K. Original goal was 10K.
So you hit that?
Yeah, it was 6,014, but then in my mind I had a secondary goal. So 6,014 because it was double the amount I raised when I did my 100K run. I thought, double distance means double money, but we nearly hit 11K. So
Scaling up.
it'd be nice to, 11K lets them, at the moment, lets them tag a lot of bears for support packages, lets them, it pays for their memorial service, it pays for a grief workshop, it does a lot for Bears of Hope in Tassie, and then obviously funds, etc. will go to the national Bears of Hope as well.
Okay, that's awesome.
Thank you.
All right, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you very much.
If you guys enjoyed today's interview and you want to help support Chris's cause, then please click the link in the description and donate to Bears of Hope. And finally, once again, if you enjoyed this and you're excited for the podcast, make sure you subscribe so that you're kept up to date, and make sure you follow my Instagram at Galloways_take. I will see you guys in my next video next week, and I have a lot of exciting content to share with you guys, so I can't wait to share it, and I hope you guys are looking forward to it. Anyways, peace out, guys.